So here we continue with Plato and his ascent of the soul to the realm of forms. And so we'll be speaking about the process of the ascent and what it entails. Sorry, ascent, no S. All right. So we said that the act of contemplation, right, this, which is what the soul is trying to do, is theoria. So that's when the soul contemplates the forms. Okay, and so this knowledge is not just simply a knowing about or an intellectual awareness, but it has to do with a contemplation that is union with the forms. Okay, so we said theoria is, this is the way the soul returns to the divine realm. So it's how soul returns to the divine realm. And it is, theoria is union or participation, okay, with true objects of knowledge. And these true objects of knowledge have to be eternal, immutable, immortal. That's the things in the realm of the forms. And so to illustrate this process of the ascent, Plato tells in the Republic, one of his writings, he tells a parable which has been called the allegory of the cave. So the allegory of the cave is something that you can find online. There are very short videos on YouTube that explain it, so you can see something like that. You can see those. But just by way of quick summary, you have a cave in which you have prisoners who have been chained from infancy. Okay, and they're chained in a way that they can't move their bodies. Okay, so you can imagine these prisoners, and their faces are sort of locked into this direction here. And then behind them you have, let's say something like a screen and a path, and so you have a fire up here. Okay, and so when people or animals or objects walk across, the fire reflects their shadow up here on this wall that the prisoners that's the only thing that they can see. And also in terms of what they hear sort of muffled things, right? So there's a bunch of these prisoners, okay? And so all they can see and experience is what's here. And so Plato says, well, after some time, this becomes the world of the prisoners, that they only know these shadows. In fact, they don't know what they look like. They have no real sense of self-awareness. So they just know these shadows and the muffled sounds that come through. Okay. Now he says, well, let's assume one of them gets freed, right? And this freed prisoner turns around and begins to see things as they are, that they're solid, they're textured, they have depth, they have features that he could not even have imagined, right? And so, in fact, it becomes so startling that, it's scary, and he may actually want to go back, okay? But his hellbent said, no, you've got to keep going, right? So he comes in and he looks at the fire, and he is completely taken by this light, right? But then he keeps going out and he exits the cave. So let's say this is the entrance of the cave, and then sees just the full brilliance of the world with all its different colors and people and textures, and then gradually actually begins to see the sun, right? That's really the source of all light, and he can investigate the heavens, etc. Okay, so this is Plato's idea of the allegory of the cave, right? That you start being primarily aware of a particular world that is a world of shadows, okay? And you then are freed and you begin to move to the real world. And it is a scary, painful process that if you're not held and encouraged to keep going, you may actually want to return to what you're comfortable with. But gradually you begin to experience the world and you then move towards the ultimate source of light. Okay, so the allegory of the cave. So let's just put this here. Allegory of the cave. So the allegory of the cave shows us first that there is a problem. Okay, that and it tells so we become aware from this allegory that we need to search for reality. Okay, it is not what we are currently experiencing. Okay, so that's what's telling us that we are those prisoners and we're living in this world of shadows. And so the first stage is that we need to be awakened. Okay, and we need to realize that we are far from our true home. Okay, so and the true home is the realm of the forms. Okay, so after we are awakened, then the soul has to unlearn its apprehensions of false reality. Okay, so these prisoners have to realize that these shadows are not reality, so to speak, and all those muffled sounds that we're hearing, that there's more to them, right? So you have to unlearn that, okay? And so you have to unlearn your apprehension of false reality. And then you have to accustom yourself. You have to get used to true reality. Okay, and this process is gradual. Okay, it's just not going to happen that quickly because all your life you've known a particular thing. Okay, so it's a long and gradual process. It's a long and gradual process to detach from false reality, okay? And then to attach to true reality. Okay, so this is going to be a process. It just doesn't happen overnight. Okay, and this is Plato's understanding of ascent of the soul. All right. So one is that you awaken to the fact that our knowledge is only opinion. Okay, and the Greek word is doxa. That's an A. And then you detach from false reality through so that's through education, and the Greek word is paideia. Okay, so that's and you notice the idea of education is that you are being led. In education, it implies that there is someone with some sort of expertise leading you.